everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Suvi Sue, the video producer here at Strategic Coach, and I am so excited because we are talking to Dan Sullivan today, the founder of Strategic Coach, and we have a really hot topic for you guys today, so you're going to want to stay tuned. We have lots of stuff going on and a lot of free giveaways. We are so excited to have you. Before we jump in, Dan, I want to find out where everyone is tuning in from. So if you guys can let us know your location in the comments section below, we could give you a little shout out and just get situated with where everyone's from. So today we're going to talk about how to make your competitors your collaborators. And Dan, you are all about collaboration. So why don't we jump in here, and can you first of all just let entrepreneurs know how can they get started with this? How do they even begin to make this happen in the first place?
Yeah, well, first of all, what we're talking about today, Suvi, I don't think it was really possible 25 years ago. I started coaching entrepreneurs in 1974, so it's pushing 50 years right now, and I think what I'm talking about right now would have been total nonsense back when I first started as an entrepreneur. But what I'm noticing, because since 1974, when I started the one-on-one coaching, which in 1989 became the full program, the Strategic Coach program, individuals were much more tightly siloed inside of their industries. Okay, so they, there were significant barriers. If you were in one industry, you didn't have that much to do with another industry. And that changed because, it changed because personal computers became part of entrepreneurs' everyday tools. And then software became a way that entrepreneurs could actually have capabilities as individuals in small companies that really only large organizations used to have those kind of capabilities. Marketing, CRMs, just having database and all the things you can do now with software. And then the huge multiplier was the internet, that you could do business on the internet, and then led to mobile. You can use your phone. Your phone is a very powerful computer. And then I think in the last 2 years, it's really become radically different from 50 years ago because of the move to virtual meeting. And I'm kind of amazed because, I'm just trying to think, I think this is my 8th decade. So I was born in 1944, and so, if you did a long distance call, in the 40s and 50s, you really had to think about it because it was so expensive, and long distance is free, virtually free right now. So I think that what I'm talking about, I just want to get the background to everybody, the context, because you wouldn't have read about this, you wouldn't have heard me talking about it 25 years ago, but when more and more I'm noticing something. So that's my answer for this, because then I'll tell you what I've noticed.
Okay, great. Thanks, Dan. I want to give a shout out. We have Jose from Portland. We have Scott tuning in from Boston. Hi, Scott. And okay, so
that proves my point.
Exactly.
Point I was making. Yeah.
So Dan, you talk about this a lot in your newest quarterly book that is actually out now, and the people in your
not yet. It's at the
first week of March. They'll get it in their workshops. It's called Collaboration Ground Rules, and you kind of set out 8 rules of what a good collaboration between 2 highly successful entrepreneurs actually looks like. feels like, how it comes together, how it's managed. So can you talk a little bit about what does a successful collaboration look like?
Well, I'll give you an example from my, I'll just give you collaborations that I'm involved in. So one of them is with another entrepreneur who actually has coaching workshops, and his name is Joe Polish, and he has a great organization called Genius Network. And technically speaking, if entrepreneurs are in one workshop, coaching workshop, they wouldn't be in another workshop. But I find it actually very, very useful that if people are undecided, they're thinking about strategic coach, but they're also thinking about Genius Network, which is Joe's workshop. I say I really recommend that you go to Joe's workshop first, because he'll teach you all about marketing, and by just applying what Joe teaches you, you'll jump in revenues, you'll jump in productivity and creativity and profitability, and as a result of that, it'll be much easier for you to write the check and come to strategic coach. And Joe does the same thing. He said, "Oh no, don't come to Genius Network. Go to the strategic coach, because he'll really get your life simple. You'll start having complete integration between your business life and your personal life. So go there first and kind of get your act together, and then come and learn how to multiply your strategic coach success with exponential marketing." So the big thing here is that although we're competitors for the same check, people are writing a check. I don't know how many people still know what a check is, but it's the money that you're doing. Technically, we're not at all. We're in a completely different dimension. And what I found is that our entrepreneurs who are really great at what they do, and technically they're a competitor with someone else who's really great at what they do. In fact, they're not. They may be in the same industry, coaching being an industry. They may be, but they're doing something uniquely well that the other one isn't doing. So the better you are at what you do in a particular industry, you've gotten very, very specialized in what you're doing. So you start off in an industry and you're doing this for your clients, but then you find that there's particular clients that you love doing it for, and there's just certain things you love doing for those clients, and your circle gets smaller and smaller. And there are other people in your same industry who've done the same thing, and they have small circles, but in fact, you're not competing. And if you were to actually collaborate, you would get access to their capability. Okay. So I'm not going to teach marketing inside Strategic Coach. And I say, look, for your marketing, go to Joe Polish. So that's an example of, and Joe says the same thing to me, because we're not on each other's territory. Our circles are not, overlapping with each other, but we're very resonant, and Joe's in my program and I'm in Joe's program. So we've proved it, that we're not competitors, we're collaborators, and we've proved that we've made each other the clients of the other program. We're the clients of the other program. And I have many other examples of this. And so what I find is that, and one of the things that's really permitted this is that for the most part, when I first became an entrepreneur, 1974, basically you might have been really great at what you did, but it was kind of local. It was within your geographic territory. And as the technology has developed more and more, I've got some really interesting clients over the last 2 years, because the ability for people to travel to our workshops was taken away by the lockdowns. We've been in lockdown. It's been like war conditions in one way over the last period of time. And but I was thinking one morning I had a podcast. Okay, well, I wasn't doing podcast, 25 years ago. There was no such thing. But I was doing a podcast, and the person interviewing me was a Norwegian entrepreneur who was living with his family in Da Nang, Vietnam. So if you look at the map of Da Nang is a fantastic tourist city. And he was interviewing me for sort of as a part, a 1 hour part of a conference that he was giving to thousands of his clients. And all of his clients are in Scandinavia. They're in Norway, Sweden, Finland, Northern Europe, Germany, and, the Low Countries, Holland, Denmark, and everything else. And I got finished with it, and I said, and we're doing it on Zoom. We're doing it on Zoom. And, he's an entrepreneurial coach. And here I am, I'm doing everything I can to make his conference a big deal, that he really loves it. But I was just thinking of being interviewed by a Norwegian living in Vietnam for a conference of Northern Europeans that's going to happen a month later. And I said, so it's a different kind of world we're living in.
Oh, absolutely. So I want to quickly say hi to Susan, who is in Saskatoon. Hi, Susan. And
Susan, I know who you are, Susan.
We also have Giorgio all the way from Italy. Nice to see you, Giorgio. Thank you guys for joining today. So I want to let everyone know that if you want to download a free copy of Dan's newest book that's about to hit the shelves, Collaboration Ground Rules, we will post a link in the comments section below for you, and you can type in your information there and get your copy. There's also some audios available and some more in-depth videos that you guys can learn more about this topic. So Dan, two of the things that you mentioned in Collaboration Ground Rules are things I'd like to get to today. The first one is, you said that when you're looking for a great collaboration, you're looking for one that you don't have to pay for. And that was in relation to cash confidence. Now, members in Strategic Coach will be familiar with what we mean when we say cash confidence. But Dan, I'll let you speak to the wider audience. What are you saying when you're saying that you're looking for a collaboration that you don't have to pay for?
Well, I don't. The central issue of the collaboration is that you're gaining a tremendous capability, okay, and you don't have to pay for it because you're just recommending it to the clients that you want to be a hero to. Okay, so I've got this concept. It's actually ground rule number one, that you have the same hero target. In other words, my goal for everything we do in Strategic Coach is to be a hero to our entrepreneurial network around the world. So we have right now, we have over 2,000 entrepreneurs who own their own companies, many different industries. I think it's 70 different industries. We're in 35 different countries. And what I want to do is I want to provide them access to anything that enhances their capabilities as entrepreneurs. And if you look at them in a 360-degree circle, they have many different parts of their life that they could increase their capability and confidence in. And I'm one of the dimensions, but there's 20 other dimensions where they would benefit from coaching from other coaches in that different part of their life. For example, the entire way their lifestyle life, how they live, what their house is like, what their the team that they have that supports their lifestyle. During the last 2 years, it's really fallen into the area of education for their children, and it's very, very interesting. I would say half of our entrepreneurs, certainly in the United States and Canada, where the schools, the regular schools that their children went to, were very unpredictable, whether they'd be open or not, and then they have the mask mandates and everything else. Of the entrepreneurs that I'm coaching, I bet half of them have taken their children permanently to some form of homeschooling, where they share facilities with other parents who are doing the same things, and they're just hiring really great teachers to come in and create curriculum and everything. Well, I'm not the one to coach them on that. There are specialists who can actually show you how to create a kind of a private school where part of the schooling is at home, and then you share facilities and you get professional teaching. I mean, you have to still meet government requirements, if the child is going to be considered graduated from school so that they can go on to other levels of education. Well, that's not my area. So what I want to find out is who the entrepreneurs who are really great at this, and then I'll say, well, you go and talk to this person, and whatever they're going to charge for that, write them the check. I don't want any of that money. I know how to make my own money. So I've freed myself that when I collaborate, I don't want any money from the other person. I just want their capability. So that's the whole thing is about capability.
Mm-hmm. So what's possible with a collaboration mindset? Can you talk about some of the growth opportunities that become the byproducts of this type of partnership?
Well, you get better because whenever you approach your actual clients who do pay you the check, they say, I need someone for this. And what I do is a better job, since I discovered how you could do this in a collaborative way. I really go deep with my clients and understand everything they're looking for in their life, 360 degrees. And so I make note, they need this, they need this, they need this. And if this was 25 years ago or earlier than that, you would try to build that into your own company. Okay. But since it wasn't in your company, it means it wasn't a passion of yours. And you're just trying to expand your cash flow. You're just trying to get paid more for more things. And I say, well, that's really stupid, because someone who, this new thing that my client wants, that I want to be a hero to my client, they're looking for something, and they're looking for something great. And I can't do great with something I haven't done before, or try to do something that somebody does better. Why don't I just do a collaboration with the person who does it better and introduce my client to them? The client sees me as creating enormous value for them, and so they see me as a hero. And I'm very, very, strict about, I don't take a cent from what the other person makes. Okay, because that keeps my judgment very objective, because this person may be good, but I find somebody better, then I don't have an obligation. I'm just looking for great value creation for my client. And, people are really great. They reciprocate.
Absolutely. I want to open up this conversation to our viewers. So if you guys have any questions for Dan, please let us know, and we'll get to as many as we can. And if we don't get to your question live, we will definitely answer later on today and tomorrow. So Dan, we got some questions coming in here. This is awesome. So Dan, can you talk a little bit more about the hero target? Because I find that very interesting. What do you look for in your hero targets?
Well, so my clients are all entrepreneurs, and for us to even meet them, for them to even get into the first of 3 levels of our program, they're making more than $200,000 a year in personal income, not company income, but personal income. And I would say we have 2,000, and the average is probably pushing 2 million if you take all their revenues, because some of them are really quite large companies, and their personal take. So these are people who were successful before they met us. They're very talented. They would be successful and talented if they had never met us. And they have really big ambitions. So those three qualities, and that's what we're looking for in working with them. But their life has gotten very complicated. What I notice is that they've grown way beyond what they expected to as an entrepreneur, and they've gotten to the point where, they're making a lot of money, but their life has gotten very complicated. And what we do is that we bring extraordinary simplicity to their life, and one of them is just stop competing. Just find out just have clients who have huge futures where you can be very, very useful to them in helping them get clarity on their future. And then anytime they need something, anytime they want something that's outside of what you do for them, be able to refer them to somebody else who can do that for them at the same level that they appreciate you for doing it. So there's a quality thing here. So I'm constantly looking for people who are great for my clients, and I have a strict rule that any money that they make, they don't owe me any of that money. And then over time, you just see if they reciprocate or not. Do they bring me in to meet their clients? I mean, if it's one way, then after a while, the battery runs low and there's not energy to go forward. But I mean, like Joe Polish, we've been doing this for 23 years, and it gets better every year. So, so that's the thing. But my whole thing is that I'm not trying to sell a product or a service. I'm trying to sell my clients on a bigger, more enjoyable future of their own. So all my thinking and all the the thinking tools that we provide in Strategic Coach enable our clients to keep creating and enjoying a bigger and better future. It's got a lot more quantity attached to it, and it's got a lot more quality attached to it. And anybody else who has a capability that I think is going to support what my clients are doing, then I try to collaborate with them.
Well, that's one of the coolest things about you and about how you approach your entrepreneurial business that I love is that you're normally fairly open about the collaborations that you're up to. So I'm wondering, what are you excited for 2022? What collaborations are you involved in? And I think they might serve as some pretty good examples for our audience.
Well, here's an example of a collaboration that's just going to grow and grow and grow. And that is that we had a client who, again, he's about the same amount of time in Strategic Coach, 23, 24 years. And he coached entrepreneurs on how to create great team structures inside their organizations. Who should be here, and how they should meet, how they should make decisions and everything like that. And it's not so much about the entrepreneur, but the most important employees of the entrepreneur. And he created a complete structure. And, after about 6 years in, he said, you're never going to create a team structure for the entrepreneurs, are you? An inside management structure. I said, no, not interested in that. I said, I just love working with the entrepreneurs. And at most, we have support programs for the direct support people who work with the entrepreneur. We have support programs for their marriage. So we have couples conferences. For their children, 18 to 24, we have programs. So one of the big worries that entrepreneurs have is that they've been, sort of extraordinary. They've lived a kind of scary, challenging life. And a lot of them didn't come from that. They didn't come from a lot of them are blue collar. I'm a blue collar. I grew up, farm country, and it was all blue collar. I grew up blue collar, and the life I lead bears no resemblance to the life that I came from, and none of my siblings, I have 5 siblings, none of them would really comprehend how I lead my life, and everything that I do. But you are who you are, and you go where you're going, and so that's the truth for the other entrepreneurs. So the big thing is that the person I'm talking, this program is a massive program. It's called EOS. It's called the Entrepreneurial Operating System, and it's fabulous. It was so fabulous that we got our team into his program, and we have one of his coaches who are called implementers. This is EOS. They come in and they coach, and we pay their fees. And more of their coaches are in our program, probably 50 or 60. They have about 500 worldwide. And every time somebody has a team structure, they're not properly structuring their company, I said, here's a number, call EOS, have one of their coaches come and coach you. And people say, well, why don't you just build it into Strategic Coach? I said, it's not what we do. It's not what we do. We only do the one thing. We just work with the entrepreneur. And I says, it's a gift to me that somebody else has created this program. And, so I don't want to do what they do, and I don't want any of the money they do, but I would like them to add to the capability that I can introduce my customers and clients. And part of the reason is I don't need the money. Yeah. We know how to make money. We're making enough money. It gets better every year, it's
about the capability.
It's about the capability.
I love that.
Anytime I have, a choice between short-term cash flow or long-term capability, I always choose long-term capability.
Fantastic. So we have a couple minutes left here, but before we wrap up, I want to get in one question from Brandon. He says, Dan, how do you vet a potential collaborator to make sure their goals and values are in line with yours, particularly to ensure they genuinely want to collaborate and not compete? That's a good one.
Well, everything in life is a guess and a bet, okay? And, there's no sure thing when it comes to the future, because it's unknown. It's all new territory. But I've been developing these really powerful collaborations over almost a quarter century, and quite frankly, the book that I'm bringing out, the ground rules, 8 ground rules, these are mindsets. And, when you drive in traffic and you come to a stoplight, that's a memorial to a death or an injury. Every stoplight that you come to, I say to something, oh, this is quite a memorial here. And they what say? It's a cross street and it's got a traffic light. I said, yeah. But somebody got killed here, somebody got injured here. That's why they put the traffic light in. So I would say that all the ground rules I have is where I tried to have a collaboration and there was an accident, so I said, I'll let that happen once, but I won't let it happen two. So I've come up with these ground rules, and I would say that I don't do collaborations with people who aren't in our program. That's one of my rules. That's not one of my ground rules in the book. But unless they're part of coach culture, and I've had the experience of them being really, really engaged with our program, and really, and generally speaking, it would be multiple years. I mean, generally my collaborations are with people we've known each other and been impressed with each other for 7-8 years. So you're very, very comfortable with them, and you know what their values are, you know what their ambitions are. But still, they have to meet the ground rules. I mean, technically, they just not. First of all, it's not a capability that I particularly am interested in, and so but it's wisdom. I mean, everything that is good and you're good at it and lasts for a long time is that it's got an enormous foundation of wisdom about what works and what doesn't work. So this is just what I've discovered. But I think anyone picking up the book who's truly interested in collaboration will take a jump ahead in knowing who to talk to and who not to talk to as a result of, and we have a scorecard in it where you can score yourself. The book takes about an hour to read. It's not a long book, but there's if you go to the links there's a 2-hour interview, not me reading the book, but just being interviewed about the various ground rules, and then there's a video in it. I think for anyone who's truly collaboration minded, I think this will save you years. I think this book will certainly save you years, and as things turn out great, maybe we'll meet each other in the Strategic Coach program.
For a future collaboration. Well, that's great. Yeah. Dan, thank you so much for always being so generous with your time and with all of your great wisdom. As Dan said, everyone, a link to get your free copy of the book and audios and videos will be in the comment section below. For those of you who are in Strategic Coach, of course, you'll be getting a free copy of the book as well, first week of March. And everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. If you missed something or you want to replay this, today's Facebook Live will be, it will live on our Strategic Coach Facebook page. It will always be there, so you can go through the questions and comments and links. And if you have any additional questions, myself and the team will be sure to answer you. But thank you, everyone, for your time, and I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Suvi. I appreciate you setting this up so I didn't have to do any work.
It's a great collaboration. Bye, everyone. Thank you.